Hey guys, as you know, the film festival is coming up in a few weeks, and for the next couple of weeks, we will be interviewing the directors and some of the crew for the films that are being shown. So I'm here today with Joe and Dexter, who are the director and cinematographer of the film 18-inch Pizza. Okay. To start off this interview, I want to ask, what made you come up with that name?
Well, I mean, when I wrote it, it was maybe the end of second year, and me and George, my housemate, we went down to the Wigmore Fish Bar and we saw the advertisement for an 18-inch pizza. I thought, oh no, that's massive. Let's order it. Let's share it. And I just on that day, maybe the next day, I was like, I just had this idea for the film of two people having a conversation about the size of the pizza.
And how did you pitch this idea to Dexter?
So
Just you didn't really pitch it. I was fully in because you know I don't know. I've wanted to work with you for a while, just like on a film. But how did you pitch it? You just
yeah, so I remember I was looking for. I knew you do film, so I was tempted to ask you either to be maybe an AD or cinematographer or something involved with it. But it just happened, you wanted to be a cinematographer. That's perfect. It just fell into place because we knew each other before, so it just worked that way.
So do you think like the familiarity you guys had influenced how you communicated during this film?
yeah, I'd say so. It felt the environment was pretty it's pretty normal, pretty natural. It's just like Joe, I want this and this. I think this could be changed.
Yeah.
I think this is really good.
Normally, the cinematographer is the one who's kind of brings the ideas down. Who's like, okay, that's a bit too ambitious. I felt like the roles were reversed a bit because he had some really interesting ideas, which would have been cool.
Yeah.
But I was thinking maybe a bit too difficult. But I really like that. I really like working with someone with some interesting ideas, and I think we got some of them in, if not all of them. But it was we had a rapport quite instantaneously because we knew each other before. I think that does help massively.
Yeah. And you talked about you and your friend going out. Do you think this inspired the characters in your film, or what else did inspire the characters?
Well, I hope we're not too similar to the characters. I think a major influence is Tarantino, just the idea of having benign conversations while something else is happening at the same time, something more evil. Um, so that definitely influenced it. And visually, I know a Wong Kar-wai influenced it. So in terms of influences, that maybe dictated the substance of the film, but the original concept came from just fact ordering a pizza and how weird it was. There was 18 inches. It just thought it was a massive pizza. I thought it'd make a cool title as well. So
Yeah, it does. It does make a cool title. And are there any other roles that you guys take in the filming or the production, aside from being a cinematographer and a director?
Well, I haven't done so yet, but I was probably going to help you edit, possibly, or just give like a second opinion if you wanted.
yeah,
You know.
yeah. I mean, that's the editing. I am editing. I feel like was it Sean Baker on the Nora? He did basically everything on that film. So it's. But at the same time, I don't think it's exactly like authorship. I don't think it's down to me exactly. Like the visions of Dexter, the visions of the characters, the actors playing it are so important on how the film's going to look, how it's going to work, how what the final vision is. Um, so yeah, it's many. Everyone has a different role. There wasn't really an AD on, which I don't mind having a crew quite small. I think it does work when, especially in a film of this nature. I'm not sure how it was for you to have a small crew.
Yeah, it was pretty good. Just a like contained little character piece, and the actors gave their own insights, and it was all like quite efficient, really.
And do you think the small crew made it easier in the sense that like there were no problems during filming, or were there any incidents that you would like to talk about?
Well, the first shoot, was it the lighting that was it the lighting that messed up?
One of the lighting rigs didn't really work, but we made it work. They still had one of them working.
Yeah. So, and other than filming on a busy street, the traffic and every single bus that could possibly drive through just came and gone.
You can mention the camera, by the way.
Oh god, yeah. The camera, we were on like low charge for like the entire shoot, and it was nerve wracking.
High intensity shoot. And even the second shoot near the end, we were running out of battery. So there was a sense of tension near the end of both shoots. But I think because it wasn't a particularly long film, and so the scene could be done relatively quickly, we were confident just to get it done with, get quickly done with. But yeah, it wasn't...
Turn the camera on and off, like, after every single shot.
Efficiency.
And since both of you are film majors, or like you're doing film in the university, do you think this particular film is like reflective of all the work that you did in all your other films in the past?
Yeah, I've done a couple like film projects throughout my course, and it has, I don't know, it's sort of mainly been me just doing it because the groups are just. But it was nice to actually work on something. This felt a lot more proper, a lot more like production based.
I haven't actually had too much practical work because I do film and history. If it's not more film production, it's more analysing film. So this was kind of my outlet, entirety of KTV. But the films I've made in the past, there's always something always goes wrong, and it's always great. It's always good to have something go wrong because you learn from it massively. And this time there was stuff that went wrong, but ultimately it didn't go as bad as it could have been.
Yeah.
And a lot of things went right. So that's the important part.
Oh, so what did you learn from this filming process?
I don't know, probably working with a crew mostly, just trying to working on a production that wasn't like my own. You know, I didn't want to step on your toes or anything, but I wanted to give you my ideas.
Yeah, and that's I absolutely love. That's why I wanted to be collaborative, massively collaborative. I think I mainly learned just the more prep you do, the easier shooting days are. I think that's massively important, and you always miss something. So you don't try and control the uncontrollable, and you try and find the line between being kind of strict and getting it forward, but also letting them just have the freedom to do what they want. I know they went off script sometimes, which I wasn't too harsh on, but it does make editing a bit harder. But no, it's good. That's the point. I just want everyone to have a good. That's the main part of it. Everyone have a good time on the set.
And how do you find the atmosphere with the crew? Was it fun?
Yeah, I think it was pretty fun. The actors, they were great. They were just their connection, like together, and for it being a character piece, they had such a good like natural bond, and all the ad-libbed lines were quite comedic.
Yeah, Kaylin and Jeremy, they're friends. They live longer than we've known each other. I think they've known each other since high school. So they just had an instant connection. They're real life people carried on into the film. The characters are an extension of themselves almost. So it just worked. It worked massively. And the fact they could ad-lib more and bounce off each other, that's exactly what I was after. And I think it does come off in the film.
And I heard you guys filmed in the city centre. How was that? How was the process of getting the permissions, going there with your crew and cast?
Right. Yeah, in terms of permission, I went there 3 times. First time I was like, yeah, it's okay. And the second time I went with the thing to sign. And each time I went, they kind of forgot who I was.
Yeah.
So it was like, I have to remind them that I've been here before and I've asked.
Yeah.
And they have to get out the things. Oh, okay, yeah, no problem, no problem. But yeah, because it was out of the way, it wasn't inside. It was this really perfect little spot, which had the lighting was quite nice.
The 18-inch pizza.
The sign, yeah. It's basically the perfect spot for it. And it wasn't getting in the way of their business or intruding too much. Now it's important. I didn't want to interrupt anyone's business. So I'm glad the perfect spot appeared,
And with the film festival coming up, what made you want your film to be shown at the KTV Film Festival?
I know that previous years, I think Kaylin, who worked with this film, one of the actors, had a film last year. And I've always been interested. Yeah, I've been meaning to write. So that's why I first joined KTV to do some screenwriting and also to produce, make a film. And it just happened to work out, I'm very, very fortunate that I knew people in film that could help me make a vision come true. and it's just a lot of fun. I think that's the main part of it, is just to have fun. It's not too stressful. There's so many different interesting films coming out, which I'm gonna love watching. Just everyone have a different idea of what they want to do, genres and styles, and that's, I think, the best part about a film is the expression of ideas, the dialogue between each film.
Yeah, and what are you excited about for the film festival?
I'm excited to see how ours holds up alongside the others, because I've seen all of like the behind the scenes production. They all seem to have a good time, and a lot of talented people working on these films. So it'd be nice to not compare, but like see them up there.
I think, I think too much comparison can get in your own head too much. So I just want to see what other people are doing. I think there's so many cool ideas, very ambitious ideas. I know some people have like 8 shoots, and we only had 2 shoots. I think just the time to spend on it, I commend it, because I already feel busy myself. Having to do more shoots, would have been a lot more stressful. So yeah, just the ambition of everyone, that'd be exciting to watch.
Are there any films that you're particularly excited to see?
She Won't Bite. I think that's a good one, the vampire one. The Other Side of the Door, which, because Eleanor let us borrow her car for the first shoot, and she's making that. So that's definitely something I want to plug, because that she was very grateful to let us film in her car. I was put in the boot. So that was.
Both were, to be honest.
Oh yeah, you got in the boot
for the filming. I feel like I was in a worse position. I had to contort myself to get the POV shot.
They closed the boot, and I was stuck in there, crammed up, and with a duct tape around my mouth, and having to scream. And you think you're in a worse position?
Did you not write the script?
Yeah, well, it could have been anyone in there. It didn't have to be me. Tried to rope in one of my friends to do it, but I ended up being the director. I don't know how that happened, but no, I like having a small cameo in it. Again, it does feel very like Tarantino or Hitchcock, where they have lots of cameos in their own films.
And are there any film directors or cinematographers that you guys look up to?
Gosh, you wanted like a chunking express. I can't remember.
Yeah, Christopher Doyle.
Christopher Doyle.
Yeah.
I tried to emulate that a little bit.
Yeah, he channeled you in there, Christopher Doyle.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, as the ones I said before, Tarantino, Wong Kar-wai. I did, in my pitch, I did mention Lock, Stock, Two Smoking Barrels, which is Guy Ritchie. So maybe a bit of the British kind of quintessential British nature of it. I think that has to leak through. Although one of our actors isn't actually British, so it does work with kind of different cultures as well.
And last but not least, is there any advice you'd give to someone who's hoping to make a film, let's say in the near future?
I feel like this has been said a bunch of times, but just do it. Honestly, just do it, because I'm sure if you've got friends that will help you, group them in, and just come up with something. It doesn't have to be the best thing. Just just something.
I think that's important. I think when you make a film, you have to put yourself out there, and that can be a bit embarrassing at times. And it's very difficult to put something out that you create because you want to almost shield it from criticism or general good feedback. But you just have to put yourself out there. And, you know it's not going to be perfect. And in 2 years, you can maybe even laugh at your own film. Oh, okay, that wasn't very good, but this one will be better. Because every time you make a film, something you will learn from the previous one will help you with the next one. I mean, that's the whole progress. That's what a film is. It's progressive.
That's amazing advice. Thank you so much, Joe and Dexter.
Thank you very much.
For coming on to KTV. And make sure you come to the film festival to check out their film, 18-Inch Pizza.